So I'm I'm second generation, and about 10 years ago, let me just get through this. So we're City Furniture. About 10 years ago, I was in college, and told my father, everything I'm learning about Toyota is pretty much the opposite of what you've ever taught me, at the dinner table. And he was like, well, whatever, All of a sudden, I ended up asking him to send me on spring break to Japan. I spent 2 weeks in Japan. This is when I was like 21. Spent about 2 days at Toyota City, Japan, and just was blown away with Toyota like everybody else here. Came back pretty much a zealot, and was basically trying to convince him very early on to do Lean. And he had no idea what the hell I was talking about. Long story short, we're a South Florida furniture retailer, and about, what was that, 2007, the recession, you can kind of see it coming. We were a $340 million business. In 2 years, we dropped down to $210 million. But maybe a year and a half. And at that time I was working for the company. We had 4 rounds of layoffs, barely profitable, and a very, very, very scary time. So my passion and connection, kind of like you were saying, the emotional tie to Lean, is I never want to ever go through layoffs again. That's my mission in life. Is to, these people are my second family. They come over to our house. They're their dinner, you name it. They're our friends. They're our family members. So long story short, what do you know? The recession comes along, and he's like, "Hey, what's that Lean thing again? What's Toyota doing about?" So I'm in kind of like our overview and Lean journey. So long story short, we started our Lean journey. But to get to back up a little bit and just explain who we are, City Furniture is has about 26 showrooms in South Florida. We're the only ones in the country that does same-day delivery, next-day delivery, pretty much all the time, 7 days a week. And beautiful showrooms, great sales team, fantastic front end. We're high, lower end to lower middle end furniture, all different product categories, big showrooms. We're the #1 market leader in one of the most competitive markets in the country. Maybe Dallas, Texas is now #1 most competitive. We used to be #1 or most competitive, but anyways, so give you a little idea who we are, and we got all different aspects of our team. Great people, worked here forever, just similar stories as everybody here. Just to give you a little idea, we're South Florida, a couple in Central Florida, but we also own the Ashley Home Store brand in South Florida. So we got about 26 furniture retail stores. So does anybody know a retailer that's doing Lean? Because I go to every Lean conference and I never see any other retailers. Good, all right, good. So there's our 1 million square foot facility. These numbers aren't really accurate, but we're doing about 700 deliveries a day, about 100 are same-day delivery, and we're servicing all of South Florida, Central Florida, Tampa, Orlando. We have about 1,300 people in the whole company right now. 650 are in operations, so I oversee operations. I hate titles, but I'm like the VP of operations. What else can I tell you? We've been in existence for about 45 years, so about this last 8-9 years of going down this Lean journey. And my father, who's the CEO, will tell you that Lean's something he's been looking for his entire life. He puts only one thing above the Toyota factory in Kentucky that I take to him, multiple times. The only thing that's better that he's ever seen is the Sistine Chapel. So he now is also really heavily bought in. So we're very, very blessed to have him really supporting our journey, our crawl, right? I love that. Yeah, I like that. So, everything that you have all said in your presentations, exactly, I can't even agree with you more. So I'm not going to beat up the culture, the people side, the emotional connection. Just everything you've said, can't agree more. But if I had to highlight some biggest breakthroughs, and Tanya, I think you kind of said it, one of the most important things that just comes to mind, the traditional org structure is all about top down, and I know we know about that. For us, it's all about servant leadership. And I don't see enough lean adopters really look at their management systems and their organizational structure strong enough to make sure that their management team is really there capable of serving their layer below, their associates. So I see a lot of finger pointing, when it comes to management's not doing this or not doing that. I typically like to say, well, if they're not doing that, why aren't they doing that? Clearly, they want to take care of their people. They want to help their associates grow. They want to teach their people lean. It's not like they don't want to. So one of the things that we typically that I see in my, when I network with a lot of different companies is the management system isn't structured enough. Once you get to a point where, hey, you got 50, 70, 150 managers, supervisors, you need to have a very structured management system. And we define it based off of David Mann's book. I'm not sure if you've read it, but visual controls. So we all know what visual controls are: the KPI boards, the dashboards, the visuals, Good 5S, you name it. Leader standards work is a critical one for me, and that's kind of what I wanted to highlight on. So at every layer of leadership in our company, including our CEO, anything that's recurring standard work is completely documented. So we get down to the percentage, and our goal is for every manager and above to have about 50% available time freed up for coaching, developing, problem solving, strategic work, process improvement, being a good leader, checking in on the associates, saying hello, recognition, you name it. So when I see a lot of those things, why aren't we hitting these goals? Why aren't we developing people enough? Why aren't we doing this? Why aren't we hitting our strategic plan? Well, typically it's because your management team doesn't have time to do it. So in our 9-year journey of lean implementation, we implemented our daily management system, our lean management system, I would say maybe about 5 years ago. And we've basically catapulted year after year. We get so much done because of our supervisors and above are so freed up for problem solving, strategic planning, recognition. I can go on and on and on and on. For the amount of resources that we have and so much that we've done, I really attribute it to the lean management system and making sure our leader standardized work is extremely well documented. So I know exactly if a supervisor or manager is overloaded, and that their managers see that, hey, they're overloaded, we need to pull work off. We need to shift it off. We need to drop it down a layer. You name it, whatever it is. So they're freed up to actually be a leader, be a servant leader. So communication strategy is probably the next. Actually, I have a little slight picture here. This is a documentation of a leader shares work, more so on the team leader and supervisor level, where everybody knows where they need to be. I call it error-proofing leadership. You don't walk into work anymore where like, oh, they forgot to do this. Now, it doesn't happen anymore because everything is so well documented on their leader shares work that everybody knows what to do as a leader. And this is the CEO on up. Let me go one extra slide. Nope. Did you go ahead? Take a picture. So back to the communication strategy, which is the third. So we have a very tiered meeting structure all the way down up. Starting with the daily huddles, we do the same exact things. We're definitely learning on the agenda side, and trying to figure out how to get more development there. But anyways, we're very structured in our communication strategy. So bad news can rise to the top. The one thing that I would want to highlight on the communication strategy, just so everybody, what's been very helpful for us is and a little different, Paul, from your meeting today, we require problems to be brought to the table. You have to bring a problem and you have to talk about it, and you look like a fool if you're not bringing problems, because there are problems. Don't tell me that there's nothing that didn't happen this morning that didn't go right. So we do the sticky dot. Frank comes up to the meeting and says, all right, this is what happened. Okay, who owns it? If it's cross-functional. So Dave says, I'm going to own Frank's problem, and he's going to say, I'll get back to you within the next X days to make sure that I could solve that problem. And so on that date where that sticky note is due, only Frank can tell us if his problem has been solved by Dave's problem solving or whatever. So very visual, very, very upfront, and it's also an opportunity for recognition. So instead of the associates individually pushing out like, hey, I want to go fix this. At the meeting, people are bringing problems and kind of bringing the problems to the surface, and people are taking them back and saying, okay, I'm going to complete that. Because that's important to Frank that I fix that problem. So it's been extremely helpful, a lot of fun, and really unbelievable to see, yeah, I'll take that problem. I want that. I'll do that for you. Yeah, I know I'm causing that. I should fix that for you. So it's been really, really powerful. I wish I had a picture. Maybe I can email it to you guys. But it's a phenomenal meeting. It's all about bringing up problems. It's all about people stepping up and saying, I'll take them. And, you know, on that date or on that day when it's due, saying, hey, I did that for you. And then, you know, what do you know? Now Frank wants to do something for Dave and hook him up. You know, so it's a really unbelievable process. But it is not acceptable to come to meetings without problems. They exist, and you need to bring them up. So another portion of our CFOS, our management system, is now that we have our leaders freed up to actually be good servant leaders, we created a visual to how to represent our City Furniture operating system. How do we get everybody to think and act and be good leaders or good associates? So we came up with this visual. If you've read The Toyota Way, it's very similar, and we didn't want to knock it off, but it really did to us kind of feel exactly what we were doing and how we were implementing lean in our company. So our foundation of our house and all of our guys in the warehouse talk about, hey, don't do that, it's going against the house, or don't do that, you know, that's going to go into the house, or does it align to the house, you know? So, you know, we know it's working, and it's helping people kind of this like guiding light to tell them what's the right decision to make, whether it's affecting the house or not. So, you know, we have the safety, quality, customer performance, teamwork, perfection statement at the house. That's where we want to be. Of course, we'll never get there. You know, the foundation, you know, standard work, who we are, visual controls, level production, and we got the 2 pillars. And you know, you can read more about this, and it's pretty darn close to what Jeffrey Liker outlines in The Toyota Way, so I won't bore you. But I think the message is, I think you do need to think about having a visual, a guiding light if you don't. Because there's going to be a situation when that supervisor's on the floor, he has to make a decision and he can't call you. He can't lean on you. And there needs to be some visual to say, okay, I have to make sure whatever the decision is, it follows within my, my principles, my philosophy of how to run the business. This has been huge for us. And everything aligns to it. So our strategic planning process, we are extremely open. You know, you talk about financials, we share everything. We don't care. We're an open book. I know some companies can't and stuff, but you know, everything aligned to our City Furniture operating system, our 5-year vision, and then our 1-year plan. So you know, it's everything aligns to that visual for us. And here, you know, everybody has a strategic plan down to the manager level. We'll get it down to supervisors next year. It's a 1-page document. I think someone said the 50-page manual book. Well, everybody has one document that is their strategic plan for the year. And it's something in order to, you know, going after safety, quality, customer performance, teamwork. Those are our 5 categories, how we do it. And it's been working great. Our year-over-year improvement with Hoshin, our strategic planning process has only gotten better year after year. And then, you know, I know it's very hard to measure how people are living lean or our CFOS, but we actually do. So we do a lot of what we heard today, a lot of the, you know, training. We actually have 80 hours worth of leadership training on lean thinking, and actually John Stanley, our training and development manager, does it for us. But one thing we learned from Toyota that I really thought was genius, after 45 days, you have to show us how you implemented, and after 90 days, you have to show us how that thinking has actually attributed to some KPIs. And as you can see, we're clearly in the red in a lot of areas, and we got a lot of work to go. But it's really amazing, and it's been a lot of fun too. So in a nutshell, if I had to stress anything, you got to look at, or from our perspective, the biggest breakthrough is getting our management system, our org structure in a position to actually make sure our people and our leadership team can succeed. And it has. It's been pretty cool. Biggest obstacles, going back to this kind of the other slide, we have a real good, strong management system within operations, but what we didn't do good in our story, in our journey, in our crawl, was really we went way too fast versus our supporting departments. HR is the one I wanted to highlight to say, you know, I think we heard it last night. We should have done a better job getting HR, leading it with us from the very beginning, and just being as ahead or as close to us as possible. And that was a big major mistake. So biggest obstacle is getting all of your supporting departments aligned. It's actually happening now. So I wanted to Well, actually, I could do it right now. So the old days, we'd have literally about, we're at the same volume of business we were in 2000. What was that? 340 million. We had pretty much product all up and down the left side of the building. That's the west. This is the east. Maybe 100, 150 more people. We were literally going to spend $25 million on expanding. And if we did, who knows if I'd even be here, because we probably would be out of business or owing the banks a lot of money. So what lean, my biggest win is flow. So at this time, I don't know if you were there and you saw it, Paul, but 50% of our building is freed up. And a good chunk of our warehouse space in the racks is maybe a third wasn't even being occupied. And to this day, and John was just telling me when he brought in a new hire orientation class last week, that they thought we weren't working that day because we hadn't shipped out 60 trucks in the morning and they're all gone by 9 o'clock, and you didn't even know anybody was there. The flow was good, the floor is clean, everything was back to normal, whatever. So I would just say the biggest win in our last 9 years is we've increased our flow. We're going to double our business over the next 5 years, and we won't even we won't even need to expand. And we almost did. We were this close. So now we have the growth to continue to grow our DC. Hopefully when we're much bigger. Where we'll be in the next 5 years, like I said, we're planning our expansion process in Orlando, Tampa. So Lean's helped us free up our cash flow. Our profitability the last 4 years is 100% growth year over year. It's been unbelievable. So we're making more money than we made in 2007 at the same levels. Our customers are happier. Our turnover back in the day was about 130% in the warehouse, 150%. Now it's 35, 38, 40.
You said you used to hire anybody if they just had a pulse.
If they had a pulse, we would hire criminal records. It was bad. It was bad, and it's really cool now to actually have just a fantastic culture and love seeing people every day, and it's been a lot of fun. And yeah, thank you. Thanks, man.
Okay,